Om Shanthi, good evening. Welcome to Raj Yoga Essentials. And if you're completely new to this, or even if not, what we try to do is explore really the very basics and the understanding and the motivation behind this study called Raj Yoga, which is a spiritual study. Its intention is to restore peace and happiness into our lives. And the reasoning, in order to get that behind how it's structured, is if we consider ourselves as spiritual beings, we will have access to spiritual capacities that make it possible to sustain peace and happiness. So, a big focus on spirituality in Raj Yoga. And the image that was coming into my mind a lot just before this session was of a tree. And a tree and being upside down. Both of these were coming into my mind. So, very often, I think it enters our head that, my goodness, this world seems absolutely mad, as if we've gotten everything backwards or upside down. And I think we have. Um, this idea that at this time we might be functioning completely upside down. We've gotten everything sort of the wrong way around, and how to put the boat right. And sometimes we even joke that we've become human doings and stopped functioning as human beings. So, really upside down, living from the outside in rather than the inside out. So, this image of the tree was coming into my mind because it's an image we often use in the study. And we talk actually about a particular tree sometimes. It's called a banyan tree. And banyan trees exist in India. They also exist in other parts of the world. I know the Caribbean. Just anywhere, I guess, in that latitude, they show up. And banyan tree, as it grows and expands and reaches its more mature stages of development, a very interesting thing happens. It develops what's called aerial roots. So the seed, the roots, and the trunk of the tree are pretty much decayed, as if they don't exist. They're not really doing anything to sustain the tree. So this tree is being, all this complex structure of branches is being sustained by these aerial roots that grow from the branches. It's quite a tangled thing, as you can imagine. So to get that image of a tree where the main structure, the main support, the main foundation, the seed, roots, trunk, not really working, completely decayed, and the branches are still kind of functioning, and then there's these aerial roots that are sustaining the tree. And the feeling that that's really what happened to us. In fact, when we talk even about the body, the physical body, we often use tree language. So we refer to the arms and the legs as limbs, and the torso as a trunk, and the roots of the head, etc. So it's as if we're an upside down tree. And when it comes to referring to the limbs, the branches, I think that's what most of our lives have become. Lots of focus on the limbs, in the sense of lots of focus on doing, 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 doing. We're really out there in the world. We think a lot about what we have to do, this expression through the limbs. We think a lot about what's been done, what's done to us, what we've done, what we have to do, what we don't have to do, what we haven't done. Our head is filled with doing this, doing this, doing this. So, really focusing a lot on the limbs. And the foundation is gone. We have become like a banyan tree, just so much out there in the world of activity. And meanwhile, the seed, the roots, the trunk, on, of course, is metaphorical at this point. So beingness is gone. We're literally just doing, doing, doing. If you look at your day to day, and right now I think is a struggle for people because their doingness has been curtailed. And so they feel like they're going a little mad. It could be a wonderful time. We have lots of people who like to garden out there. It could be a wonderful time to take care of the bits of the self that have been neglected, the roots, the seed, the trunk, rather than frustrated over the restrictions on the limbs, on the doingness. But if you look at your day, how much of your day was just doing, 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 constantly deadlines, timelines, have to get this done, or thinking about what I want to do and I can't. So, Raj Yoga is really about putting us right side up again and focusing on the seed, the roots, and the trunk. Understanding that if I get that working again, which is really what's supposed to sustain a healthy tree, the aerial roots, to be sustained by aerial roots means that I'm connected outside of myself. I'm being sustained by things outside of myself. The aerial roots are connected to the outer world for the tree. So a lot of our sense of self is being sustained outside of ourself through our work, our relationships, the things that we have. This is really what sustains us, and all of our doing is driven by that connection. And one of the main things that sustains us, of course, that we try to get is a sense of value through these connections. So that's something that deeply sustains us, is love and regard. So we're trying to get love and regard, these main forms of sustenance and the main things that feed happiness. We're trying to get them through doing this, plugging into the outside world. So taking a moment to see, does that map on to what's happened to my life when I sit and look at my thoughts? What do I think about all day? And what sorts of activities are filling my day? How much of it is about doing things to feel good about myself? So, Raj Yoga, trying to restore the really accurate foundation for the tree of my life doesn't mean I stop doing things. It's just that I'm not being sustained by what I'm doing. I'm already sustained internally, and that is expressed through my activity. I'm not taking through my actions, I'm giving. So, how to get the seed, the roots, and the trunk back into a healthy place? How to get that foundation? And really, first, I have to know what those different aspects are in my life. So, starting with maybe the seed. The seed, we talk about human being, that I am a human being. So, the seed obviously is just the being, that I am a soul. We often refer to it as the seed of truth. That truth is what is eternal. That's the seed. So when I'm talking about myself as the seed, what is eternal about me? What does that mean? What is an eternal sense of myself, or eternal awareness of myself? That's the seed of my life. And the way we've defined ourselves is very temporal or temporary, back to the doingness. and where we're sustained, we tend to think about ourselves connected to temporary things, things that come and go. Top of the list, of course, is the body. We think we are the body, and the body is temporary in its present form. Or relationships, which also come and go, or possessions, which come and go, or work positions, everything that comes and goes. So the seed, the awareness of myself, isn't actually there. It also is plugged into the outer temporal world. So, starting with the seed of awareness, what is eternal about me? And when I say I am a soul, meaning my sense of self is not defined by any of these temporary things. In fact, to fully get the experience, we have to use the full statement, which is I am eternal, and what I am not temporary stuff. So the full statement, actually, which most people don't use, is I am a soul, I am not this body. That gives a very deep experience. When we just sometimes say, I am a soul, we still kind of can keep all those attachments to temporary with us. So we want to be aware of what and who I am and what and who I am not. So we're going to take a moment just to spend time with that seed. And the essence of Raj Yoga is captured in the phrase Ohm Shanthi. Om means I am a soul and this is my body. So I am separate from the body. I am not the body. I am in the body, but separate. So I am a soul. This is my body. And Shanti, of course, is my true nature is peace. So we'll take a moment to see if we can go into that experience, if we can restore or reinstate the seed of my life, which is that true awareness of the self. So arranging the limbs of the body comfortably. So sitting comfortably. Eyes can be open. I don't really need to close them to think. So I can continue with them open. And immediately becoming fully awake in this moment to a very simple aspect of my life, which is the relationship of me and this body. So I can observe this body. I can observe the limbs, the different aspects of the body, the outline, the form. Feel the weight of the body. I am aware of what's happening on a subtle level in the body in terms of the lungs breathing, and the heart beating, all these different things happening. I don't feel I am consciously making those things happen. A lot that's going on in the body I'm not even aware of, and I certainly wouldn't know how to make it happen. There are hundreds of things going on in this body I am completely unaware of. But on a gross level, I can observe it, its form. And I am aware that I am observing the body. I am not rejecting the body, I'm simply observing it. And in that moment, the feeling that there is me, the observer, and there is the body, we are two distinct things. I am aware of the features of the body because I can see it with the physical eyes, which I'm very used to doing. But am I aware of the features of myself? I, the one observing. I am the being, the one thinking. I am the soul. And as long as I am in this body will be living, working, functioning. But if I was to leave this body, the body would become non-living, which means I am life. Do I know myself? I am not physical, so I cannot be seen with the physical eyes. But I can feel my presence and my activities of thinking, experiencing, feeling. In my mind's eye, I can bring the image, the form of myself, not physical, non-dimensional, but existing. We say a tiny point of invisible, living, spiritual light energy, a point of consciousness. So I see in my mind's eye a tiny, tiny, subtle point, very subtle, not visible. That's me, very different from the body. I have to become very quiet to grasp this experience of myself. I'm so used to thinking and feeling I'm the body. I am observing the body from this state, this sense of self, this tiny, tiny, subtle point, feeling all the energy of my attention concentrating, withdrawing into this tiny point of the observer that is me. And as I pull that energy in, all the attachments to temporary things start to fall away. They belong to the body, not to me. I am free, light, and I am eternal. Ohm Shanthi. There is such a big shift in going from upside down to right side up. It takes a lot of attention and a lot of interest to do it, to shift from thinking I'm the body. And all of that doingness is going to pull us. Remembering that was sustaining me. So constantly I'm going to be pulled doing away from experiencing myself as a soul. So it takes a lot of attention and interest to become quiet and withdraw and experience myself as that subtle being separate from the body. I'm in the body, using the body. I'm not rejecting the body. I'm becoming aware of my relationship to the body. And the doingness will pull and pull. Those aerial roots from the limbs will pull. So I have to keep, with a lot of love and patience, coming back to the point. So a lot of time and attention just to restoring the seed of my life, the seed of a peaceful, happy life, that eternal awareness of the self. I am a being in this humanness. Together it is human being or embodied soul. And then the roots and the trunk. The trunk is like my virtues or values. And that's what I hope to express to the limbs of my life, that my values will color everything I do. That's like the trunk. The roots are the bridge between the seed and the trunk. The roots are critical in sustaining a tree. They're the bridge between the truth and my virtues. And very often we just want to get to the virtues, and there's no truth connecting. There's no sense of self. So we always like the order to be first seed, experience the self, be a soul, and then from that experience, starting to see how virtues are born from that experience of being a soul. As an example, if we want to say be kind, we even use the word be kind, not do kind, be kind. We like to do kind. Right? We think, okay, I'm going to be kind by what I do. So we start to try to do kind things. We try to act nice. Back to aerial roots again, right? We're back to doing, which means we're taking our value from our activity. I'm going to act nice so people think I'm nice, and that makes me feel more valuable. Back to being a banyan tree upside down. First, let me experience myself to be a soul, very, very peaceful, very free, very light, very contentful. And then from that place, how will the virtues express? What will they feel like? And over again, what we start to notice is every virtue has behind it this feeling of lightness. We use the word detachment, but freedom, fullness, contentment, even like the word well being behind it. I'm not taking, it's not about doing. So the virtues first appear not through actions, but just a state of being, driven by the seed. So we're really turning things upside down before we ever get to action, the limbs. We want to just focus on this very eternal state of the self. Go deeply. 99.9% of my time needs to be there, not on the doing, just on the being. I am a spiritual being, going deeply into that experience. Can never do it enough. And then seeing how these virtues start to emerge naturally from that state of being. And there are 7 eternal qualities of the soul. So from truth, these 7 eternal qualities naturally emerge. If I have genuinely gone to the seat, it will be effortless. And those 7 eternal qualities that naturally emerge are peace, top of the list. Peace, purity, truth, love, bliss, power, and harmony. I'm not going to describe them because if I am generally experience myself to be a soul, I will feel them. They will start to emerge. Peace will probably be the first. It will just start to emerge. In fact, there's a memory in each of us of these qualities because they are the true or eternal qualities of the soul. They're in there. We've been trying to act them, not be them. So if I just practice this we're constantly going to want to jump ahead. You're going to want to just jump ahead because the pull of those aerial roots is so strong. We won't want to do the practice of soul consciousness. We just want to jump ahead. But the practice is, I am a soul, this tiny, subtle point, and this is my body. So that detachment, that relationship is accurate. That's the basic practice. I know we want to go into an I'm peaceful and I'm loving, and I know we want to, but try to control yourself and back up and just go into the alignment of that awareness. That, it's almost like exercise. It's so similar to physical exercise, but it's spiritual and it's quite precise. And I don't want to jump ahead. I just want to get the alignment first. I am this subtle, eternal point of spiritual energy. Nothing here is mine. It's all temporary. Not even this body is eternally mine. I just want to get that peace. Go deeply into that. And then you'll start to feel, it starts to bridge into the qualities, the eternal qualities of the soul. So we're starting to restore the seed, the roots, the trunk. And eventually what starts to happen, as I continue to focus just on the foundation, it starts to overflow into my limbs, my activities. We often say the limbs become cool and calm, which means I'm less reactive. I'm not so pulled or driven or controlled by the doingness. And in fact, the sign of getting that seed back is you achieve more with less effort, less activity, much more truth. Truth is such a power. Truth can do so much just on its own, the vibration of truth. So focusing on restoring the foundation is so critical. A piece that we always promise to get to, but we never do, but we'll end with it, is because the pull of the doingness, of the aerial roots, of being sustained by external validation through our activity is so strong. We're so used to being watered and sustained by that. We're going to need a new source of watering, what's going to really nurture, nourish, support our efforts to get that seed and to grow from that seed. And that's where the yoga comes in, this connection to a being who is always in that state of truth, always in that seed stage, never, ever gets upside down. And that being in the West is called God. We use the term Supreme Soul or Shiva, the idea that this is the creator or father of all souls, help all souls to get back to their roots, if you will. And so the term father of all souls, Baba, is used. So if I can have a connection to that being, it's really going to water my efforts and give power to override the pull of past habits. And this is called yoga with Supreme Soul, remembering, connecting to the Supreme Soul, a being who is in the state that I am trying to move into. It's very powerful because we're so easily influenced. So we'll have that experience to conclude, to connect to one who's always in that beautiful seed stage, always in the truth, how that helps me to become stable in my own seed stage, my own truth. So sitting again, arranging the limbs of the body comfortably. And it really just takes one thought, 1 second to align the self or start to align the self. Just that one phrase, Om Shanthi, can do it. But the idea, okay, I'm remembering I am a soul. And this is my body, this vehicle of doingness. But I am the being. And for now, I want to focus on me, the being. So I feel the body becoming quiet, the limbs becoming quiet. As I allow the body to rest, I am not going to be sustained through doing this right now. I want to focus on the seed, me, the being. And it's as if the awareness of the body starts to fall away out of my attention. A sense of natural concentration, returning to the point. There is a strong pull away from the seed due to habit, but the power of love is remarkable. And if I am deeply pulled, I love the truth. That will help me to come back to the point. The true me, a soul, a being, the one who's observing and listening. I am eternal, very, very subtle. Living, tiny, invisible point. Eternal. Nothing here is mine. Starting to let go. And realizing how much effort it takes to attach, to hold on. I am relieved to let go. I don't have to get my value from outside. It's a relief. And as I am pulled inwards, that love for truth, there's also a feeling of being pulled upwards, elevating as energy, my vibration begins to change. as I become true, less noise in my mind, moving into a space of quiet, of silence. Truth resides in silence. The more silence there is, the more clear the experience of truth. And so silence is God's realm. When I feel very far from worldly thoughts, like an astronaut going into outer space, far beyond the details of day-to-day life, all those aerial routes, happy to let go for the moment. I move into this refreshing silent space, so pulled to meet one who is always in that true seed state, the Supreme Soul, always just a soul, completely free, always with those eternal qualities, always pure, always true, always loving, always powerful, always light, bliss. This is a being who is always real, always healthy. Getting to know that one again will help me to become myself again. The beginning of going to seed, the seed of my life, is truth. Om Shanthi. And that is the end of tonight's session, but hopefully not of your personal exploration. I don't know if there was any questions or any sharing tonight. We didn't really give you a chance, but always feel free to type in the chat box if there is anything. And Tuesday nights, we now have this session, interview with a Raj Yogi, same time slot, but Tuesdays, where we can continue to explore questions on Raj Yoga and spirituality. So if there's any questions tonight, feel free to chat, put in the chat box, or you can email to us any questions and we'll take them up Tuesday. So we'll give you a moment or two. So if you just joined, we're about to end, but that's okay. I was just sharing that if there's any questions on Raj Yoga, we address them Tuesday nights, 7:35 to 8:15, in interview with a Raj Yogi. So you can email us your questions or type them right now in the chat box and we will take them up. But other than that, I'm so sorry if you just joined, but it's lovely. We're about to go, so I will say good evening. Om Shanti. And again, really take care of the seed of your life, which is you, the being, the soul. Om Shanti.